What's going on, guys? It's DG. I just want to make a little bit of a precursor to the video you're about to see. This podcast rather, was actually recorded on Saturday night of MLG Anaheim, which was actually right before Bittersweet played their match against Splice. The person I'm talking to, the owner of Bittersweet, AlexGLogics, and I obviously had a little bit of time to squeeze this in before he had to go to his match. He was very busy with the players and everything. So some of the statements you may hear were a little bit, not outdated as of them going up now, but a little different than what actually happened in the tournament. We were talking about Optic being like a T1 team because they were looking fantastic at the beginning of the weekend, and then turned out to not be doing that well. Luminosity wasn't doing great, FaZe wasn't doing great, Envy wasn't doing great, but Bittersweet was. They split their whole pool and everything like that. So we were just talking about their successes so far, but I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Hopefully it's not too out of place. This is actually my first ever podcast I've done. I've done a couple of interviews and radio things before, but they're all with people that I've actually known in the past. This is my first time meeting Alex, so a little different than I would like to go. But if you have any criticisms, any comments, any concerns, just please let me know. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I will be giving away either G Fuel tubs or shakers, or maybe a copy or two of World War II coming out here soon. So if you guys could just give me a little bit of a, bit on what you guys would like, I'd really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Take care. All right, hey everybody, how are we doing? This is DG coming here from MLG Anaheim. I'm here with my friend Alex. How are you today?
Doing well, doing well.
Thank you for coming out today, sir. I really do appreciate it. You guys are absolutely killing it today and all of the event. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that all came to fruition, how picking up Spacely, Mox, Llama, Lacefield, how that all really started for you?
Well, originally we were working with Chance or Mox.
Right.
And Royalty, Parasite, and Zodic.
Okay.
And then there was like a million different roster changes because that was coming towards the end of the Pro League, and some of them were getting Pro League offers.
Right.
Then I know we had Zodic leave to go join C9. So we were trying to fill in that spot. We ran with Dashy. We won a 2K series. Then they decided that they didn't want to play with Dashy because he hadn't been to LAN yet. They were kind of worried about that.
Right.
So after that, I think Royalty was the next one to leave.
Okay.
If I'm correct. And he didn't say who he was joining. Everyone thought it was going to be E6, and it ended up being that he did join E6.
Yep. So
we had Chance and Parasite. Then we started running with, I think, Llama and Lace at the time.
Right.
Or maybe Ricky and Lace ran a few maps. And Parasite all of a sudden said he doesn't want to play. He's not going to play the online qualify for relegation, so it's just Mox by himself.
Right.
And at that point, I just kind of stopped talking to them because this is a while ago, and Mox didn't know what was going to happen. We originally were going to send them and figure out what was going to happen there, and then I stopped talking to them for like 2 weeks. Mox ends up actually putting together the roster of him, Spacely, Llama, and Lace, and they hit me up earlier this week. We kind of figured things out and ended up signing the contracts on Wednesday night, Thursday morning, right before relegations happened.
Right. Right. So a big thing about that, I know I've heard a lot. You see it on Reddit. You see it in the casters, how they talk about it. Mox basically kind of seemed to build this team around himself a little bit. You saw it when back when they were TGC and whatnot. Everyone seemed to leave him, and it came as a fact that some people were saying that he wasn't the best LAN player. He wasn't like as confident on LAN. I never thought that was the case. I've always loved Mox. I've always loved his play style. Can you tell me a little bit about Mox, how he is as a person outside actually playing? Because, I've talked to him before in the DMs and everything, and he seemed like a really, really sincere guy. Can you just talk a little bit on that?
No, yeah. Mox is honestly one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the community. Like, even outside of his skill level, it's someone that I would love to have represent the organization just because he's playing. You have all these little kids coming up to him saying, "Hey, Mox, hey, Chance,
exactly.
What's up, man?" He's really consistent with his streams. He's trying to kind of build that personal brand. Like, if you've seen him, he's had the Mox hat the entire weekend. And he has not taken it at all.
And that's huge to have, to build your own brand as someone just kind of coming up. Because, the name Mox has been around for a little bit. People have actually started taking notice of him a little bit more this year. His great NV4 gameplay is phenomenal. I think he's one of the best NV4 players in the game. and to build that personal brand up when some people, you know, the whole streaming aspect of things, it gives you a little bit of different personality now in the community than it used to. I remember back in like the Black Ops 2 days, Black Ops 1, to really get noticed, it was a lot harder than it is today, I feel like, with the whole streaming aspect now. What do you think? Do you have any like ties to streaming? Do you think that's an important thing for players to do?
No, yeah, I definitely think it's necessary for them to kind of build their own fan base. I mean, you see some of the players that are, I guess, retired now and say they're going to come back, but they're retired, like Nade, Sensor, Replays, and all of them were kind of those vocal guys who ended up streaming, or like now Nade's still making videos, Sensor's still making videos. Replays is, I think, making videos with FaZe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've heard some, like, I remember when Zuma and everything, he hurt his wrist and whatnot. There were kind of the rumblings going on that, oh, if someone needed to step in, they thought that Replays would be that guy to come in, because he's still very active in the FaZe community. And I think it's awesome that these guys are really building their brands. Like you saw, I was down there today, right after the Optic match, and I went over the G Fuel booth, and the line to see Nadeshot was one of the longest lines I've ever seen. So Optic, you know how they, like with Hex, really building the brands for all the teams. I think that's a really important thing for these players to do. With that being said, though, do you think that some people in the community may get a little bit of bad press? If so, if you can say that, you know, with the whole odd shot that, Twitch clip that, if they see something they don't like, you know, someone sees something talking crap about someone else, how do you think that impacts the actual community? Do you think that players feel any disdain towards each other if they hear them talking crap on like a stream, anything like that?
I think it really just comes down to, I guess, how the community perceives that player, because you mentioned Reddit, and like Reddit will go through these like waves where like they're like, oh, we love Parasite, and they're like, oh,
exactly,
man, Parasite, oh, we hate him.
Yeah, it's
like,
incredible how that happens.
So like, I mean, and now it's like, now they're at the top of the wave where they're like, oh, we like Parasite, and like, someone will odd shot something, and it's like they're yelling at him, and Chris hasn't done anything.
Exactly, yeah, because he like, you know, that mentality of the whole. Everyone thought he was more of like the complainy type, and now that they see him doing well, I think people like to see the old guys come back, no matter who it is. And just a little bit of a transition into that. Obviously, you know, we're both Call of Duty guys. We both love the game of Call of Duty. These past couple years with AW and Black Ops 3 and IW has really changed a little bit of the community, has really changed a little bit about the game. We just saw a couple days ago some of the first gameplay for CoD WWII. You've seen casters play it, players play it, retired pros like Nadeshot have been raving about this gameplay. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the actual gameplay itself. How do you think that'll play into next year with a totally new system that some viewers may not be familiar with?
I mean, we were actually at E3, and the one thing that we didn't get to do was try the World War II multiplayer. Yeah, I mean, the line was like...
probably incredibly long.
Yeah, like there was this girl that came up to us that worked with Activision, and she said, oh, just so you have expectations, the line's going to be like 6 hours, and you're not guaranteed to play.
Right, and you probably only can play like 2 maps or something like that.
Yeah, they were actually showing
nothing huge.
Off, a new game mode they had called War, but it's not the old War from World at War.
Right, and this, if I'm correct, I may be wrong on this. I remember when that reveal trailer came out a couple days before E3. People were wondering if it was like campaign based or anything, because they saw the tanks, they saw the airstrikes, everything like that. People got a little bit worried about the whole vehicle in multiplayer aspect. Do you have anything to add on to that? Because I think it has been confirmed that it's only in War. I'm not 100% sure. What do you think? How do you think that would impact the game? Probably wouldn't be allowed in competitive, but do you think from a casual level that may be some sort of differentiation than the games are today? How do you think that vehicles and multiplayer would actually play into the game?
I think they're trying to do it kind of like Titanfall or Battlefield style, because I think they both have like campaign, like multiplayer game modes.
Right. Okay.
And so I mean, the one thing I'm kind of hoping is they don't try to push War on us as a competitive game mode somehow, because they seem to have done that in the past with Blitz.
Yes.
And I think they tried Safeguard at one point, like they kind of tested it, and everyone was like,
yeah, I think it was never like actually put in, but I think people were like trying it out to see how it would be. Yeah, it's such a weird kind of thing to be put into the competitive community. I honestly, for War, I think vehicles would be pretty cool, you know, to get like some little aspect. It wouldn't be not a huge vehicle difference, so where you're seeing things like Halo or Battlefield, where you're just seeing jets fly all the time. You're seeing the tanks come out all the time, and you have to always be wary of an actual vehicle on the map. But I think having a little bit of a difference in there would be a good thing.
It just really depends how they tweak them, honestly.
Right.
I think that we should try it, though, at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to force it on us like they did with Blitz, because Blitz sucked, and I think everyone agrees on that.
Terrible.
Like, nobody likes Blitz.
Terrible game type.
But, I mean, the one thing I didn't mention, I mentioned Safeguard and Blitz, but I didn't mention Uplink, because they forced Uplink on us.
Yes.
And it was an AW.
Right.
And I enjoyed Uplink. And a lot of people were like, oh, Uplink sucks. And then after they saw gameplay of it, like at the first event.
Yeah.
And it was because they changed. You used to be able to pass the ball, I don't know if you remember, all the way across the map. Like, there was no. The ball would just go super slow across the entire map.
Yeah, and it was kind of.
So it was kind of like Blitz
yeah,
almost. Like, you would sneak to the end of the map, your teammate would get the ball and just, like, send it all the way across the map to you.
Yeah, and it was just, it felt like so. Like, not in place for a game type. We just came off of Blitz and everything, and to have this weird game type that they forced on us just felt so strange.
But it worked out, and we've had it for 3 games now in a row.
Right.
And it was originally forced on us, and if they had listened to us and we said, like, no, we don't want this game mode, then we wouldn't have that. We'd probably be playing Domination now.
Something of the sort. Domination.
CTF.
Maybe they put like a better CTF
Blitz
in.
again.
Hopefully not Blitz again. If they ever bring Blitz Black, I will never touch Call of Duty again. I think a lot of people actually have that same mantra. It's just a terrible game. I mean, what were you thinking? Come on. Anyway, with that being said, I know you talked about Uplink. You touched on Uplink a little bit, how they forced it on us, but it's actually, I mean, it's a popular game type now. It's a huge aspect in the best of fives. After the search, say if you can steal an Uplink from a top team, you can steal a search from a top team, then the whole game is totally changed. How do you feel about those game types that, some teams may not have a strong suit in? I mean, you can see it in amateur teams. My amateur team for pretty much every game was not a huge Uplink team. How do you feel about Uplink being in the rotation where it is? Do you like it right after search? Would you like it to be like hardpoint, then like hardpoint search, hardpoint Uplink? How do you like it? Do you like where it is in the rotation or in the
I
actual
like
spot?
that right now we're still respawn based.
Right.
Because you don't have to win search. Obviously, search is like Call of Duty. You think of search.
Right.
But you shouldn't be able to win a series just on search.
Exactly.
So even right now, if you're not that strong of a slaying team,
yeah,
because obviously these last 3 games have really been slaying heavy.
They have. Incredibly.
You could still steal that uplink, get out slayed, and win uplink.
Yeah.
I think the record was like 43 and something, where if you're outslaying the other team, hardpoint, you win the map until FaZe beat us by 1 point.
Right.
And then again us with Era, but like the record is still like 43, 44, 45 and 2, something
along those lines. Yeah,
and that's a ridiculous stat.
Yeah, it's a huge. It's
2% something.
It's a huge outlier when that actually does happen. How do you think your team, Bittersweet? Obviously, it's been the talk of the tournament. Honestly, people kind of felt that it came out of nowhere. Obviously, these players, have been renowned for a while. Everyone knows all the names on the team, but the org itself came out a little bit differently. If people think it came out of nowhere, everyone's like, oh, who's Bittersweet and everything like that. How do you think that this new perspective on the community that this community has on your organization will fare later on in IW and in next future CODs?
Well, I keep mentioning Reddit because it's like wherever I go to see discussion, because it's like people that I don't follow, so it's nice to see like their opinions on stuff.
Right.
And like I saw at least one guy mention that like, oh, Bittersweet comes out every year and they have like one good placing. Like I know last year at Orlando we got top 24.
Okay.
And then we hadn't had a team since, I don't think. And then we had a team at regionals in Ghosts, which placed like I think top 24 at regionals. They missed out on champs, but they were at regionals.
Right.
So we've always had that team that's kind of on the bubble. We placed top 12 at UGC Niagara in AW. So we've always had a team there, like
so
once per year.
That has a fighting spot, somewhere that's relevant.
Yeah.
It's been on the bubble, like you said.
I think we just broke it. I think we just got past that bubble now.
Definitely.
Like, this team is showing like they're, I would say, a top 3 team in the event right now. They're the only other team other than Optic.
They're
to
doing
sweep
fantastic.
Their pool.
I mean, there's no one. I was watching today. Obviously, Optic was dominating, but the only other team that I thought that was actually putting up a good enough fight and had that large like a win differential seemed to be Bittersweet. It seemed to be the only other squad out there that wasn't playing not up to their potential. They just seem like they're actually making a huge statement.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, and the whole statement thing, coming into World War II, we'll get off Bittersweet just for a little second. I want to go back to the whole players changing between the games. So with World War II, you'll see some people who haven't really played these boots on the ground Call of Duties. It's a very different game. I'm not sure how long you've been playing, how long you've been active, but boots on the ground Call of Duty is an incredibly different feel to it than these games. Do you think any of these teams, say they stick together, like the Optics, the Phases, the Bittersweets, how do you think that these top teams will be impacted by the complete change in gameplay?
Aches is placing top 3 at the first event.
Okay.
I don't care who his team is. Aches is placing top 3 at the first event.
Because this seems like he's just waiting. He's been waiting for it forever.
Guaranteed.
It's such a.
Quote me now. Placing top 3.
All right, we heard it here first. The Aches will be placing top 3. Aches, if you do somehow see this, you have to place top 3. But with that being said, and we'll follow up on that, some of these players, some people call them jetpackers. We know the name, we know the term, jetpacker. Some names come up. I'm not going to name any names. I don't like the whole jetpacker title. I think it kind of downplays the fact that some people work super, super hard to get to where they are today. It's kind of it's demeaning, honestly. But with that being said, some of them, may not fare as well in these games. Do you really think that it's going to make that much of an impact on some of these people?
Yeah, I think the people who are saying, like, oh, it's going to be the same people up top, like, Aches isn't going to be good again, Killa isn't going to be good again. Like, I'm not saying Killa's going to come and place top 3 every event, place top 4 every event, but it obviously suited his gameplay. Like,
right.
He was winning champs, and now he's placing, like, top 40,
like in
top 40.
Black Ops 2, he was one of the best search players in the game, if not the best search player in the game. And now search is a totally different game. You can peek up over the walls, you can run, you can do all this stuff, you can spot check. It just seems like it's such a different feel to the game. Do you think that viewership will go up when this new game releases?
I think it has a lot to do with the platform. I know as of this weekend, we just went back on Twitch full time. Like, there's no delay. We're streaming on Twitch every day. Yeah. So we're kind of back to where we were. I'm been at the event, so I haven't seen how the numbers are this weekend. Mm-hmm. But I think it had a lot to do with, like, the storylines, the platform. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the setup for the league this year.
How so?
I liked that it was LAN, but I liked the kind of longer league to give us some more
like
stuff.
We had last year, kind of. I agree with that. It felt like it was a little just compressed in a sense.
It felt like just a regular event. It felt like we skipped the open bracket and played the top. It felt like we played Championship Sunday of an event. Right,
and teams sometimes may not have great weekends, and that can completely impact them compared to playing a full season, albeit online. But when you come out cold on a weekend, it can completely ruin your placing. I mean, Optic, I think we can probably all agree, is top 1 team, and of course they got 4th. So the fact that it was just so put into this one little area, I didn't agree with it either.
I mean, everyone mentioned online, but if we look at last year, I think the teams that played well online ended up getting the same placings on LAN.
Right.
Like, I think at the end of the day, there's a few, like, I guess, outliers, but for the most part, Optic wins online, then they come and they win on LAN.
Exactly.
FaZe is top 3 online, then they come and they win on LAN. Like, the exception obviously will be, like, TK back in, I want to say AW, where, like, online, like, you could say, like, oh, wow, TK was bad. Yeah. And then they came to LAN, like, they were performing, like. Exactly. I remember when Sharp was on team, he, like, had awful internet. Like, so, like, stuff like that. I mean, there's a few people, and then there's, like, a few people who, like, obviously perform amazingly online, and they come to LAN, and it's like, oh, they're not, like, the same player.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty consistent, I would say.
Yeah, the whole internet thing could be kind of a weird thing. We'll kind of cross over games for a little bit, and we'll go to Halo just for a second, talk about the Optic Halo team. I know Royal 2 is known to not have the best internet online, and then, they might not be playing great in their online matches, online qualifiers, online scrims, and when they come to the actual event, they dominate. I think it's a huge thing in Call of Duty 2. Some people get this term onliner, the onliner term, the warrior term, the jetpacker term, all of these different, titles that these guys get, but a lot of time they can come back it up on LAN, and that's all that really does matter. with the whole lands, with Season 2 coming up pretty soon, and Champs obviously being announced in Orlando, the events seem to have a different feel to them than they did last year. Can you talk about how Anaheim this year is different than other events you've been to in the past? Because I know the whole setup feels a little bit different. You can walk through the open bracket in a sense where in the last years it was just kind of everything was roped off. You can only see it from the outside. What things do you like about this year's Anaheim compared to other events you've seen?
One thing I mentioned actually earlier this weekend was in Vegas, because you said you were at Vegas.
Yes.
They still had the kind of like back-to-back, like you're playing and then like the person playing on this side, like their chair's hitting your back almost.
Yeah, right behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you can't be between stations. Like right now for open bracket, you could see any game you want.
Which is, I think,
as long as you get there early. Like obviously there's going to be a crowd and you might not be able to see over some people, but it's like if you want to see a match, it's accessible.
You can see it. Yeah, you can see it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that MLG has done this year.
It's the biggest improvement by far.
Is able to see these open bracket teams, because you see these teams fighting through the open bracket, and you get to see these crazy intense matches on just an open bracket station, where if you wanted to see them a couple years ago, you have to see it through like a periscope. You know, hopefully the person can periscope it, if their phone doesn't die, they don't get a call. Now, you know, if you're at the event, you can just walk up and just stand there. And that improvement that MLG has made has to be their best one they've almost ever made. Like you said, with the streaming platforms, now that we're on Twitch all weekend, we're on MLG all weekend. I saw that YouTube and Facebook, they're streaming through all of those platforms at once. Do you think it's good to kind of saturate it between the platforms? Do you think we should just do Twitch? Do you think it should just be Twitch MLG? Or do you like the fact that people can access it on all these different sites?
I mean, I think if someone was going to watch, for like the people who consistently tune in, they're going to watch regardless of the platform.
Yeah.
But obviously I think having a platform like Facebook, like Twitch, like for someone to discover it, it's a lot easier, because like you don't just, oh, let me go through the internet and Google MLG and say, oh, I found an MLG website. Like, but obviously through Twitch, I think they put us on the homepage most of the time. We're up there in the game viewership sometimes, so like people can find us and be like, oh, why does CoD have 200,000 viewers right now? And kind of see what's going on. I haven't looked into Facebook discovery so much. I don't know how people can kind of find the stream, but like the more options we have, the better, I think. Just I don't like how we had it earlier this year where we kind of like cut Twitch out of the deal, or like
it
had them an hour delay, because like who's gonna watch in an hour delay? It
was an hour delay for one day, and then it just, you know, it'd be live one day, then an hour delay on Saturday, and then it was like nothing on Sunday, and it was just, it felt like you kind of had to like jump through some hoops to actually be able to just watch an event. And, you know, people sometimes think that the source on MLG isn't great. You know, MLG.TV isn't fantastic.
And the new platform's good.
The new,
where you can like click who you want to watch. Like the one, I think it's on beta. Like you can click one specific person.
Yeah.
You want, that thing's awesome.
That's awesome.
And you can pull up the stats too, right through there.
Right.
Because I think now they're working with COD stats again, like unofficially or behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They use their stats and they retweet their stats. I don't know what the relationship is there.
Yeah.
But you can access it on the stream, which is the first time we could do that, I think, this year.
Yeah, it's so cool to actually be able. It feels like an actual sports broadcast now, where you can actually see the different the viewerships, as you said, the KDs, the respawn KDs, the uplink KDs, the S&D KDs. It's just such a huge step for COD that I think we really desperately need. And I know that you have to be going to a match soon, so I think we're going to wrap it up here in just a second. But I kind of want to get your final thoughts on how Bittersweet will continue on this year in Call of Duty, the rest of this Infinite Warfare season. Because I did see the whole like one event contract that you guys have with the team. I'm not sure what your motives are for the rest of this season, but can you just give anyone just a little bit of a hint of what you might be doing? I'm not sure if you're allowed to say anything, obviously, because contracts are incredibly, confusing. You see the whole gunless situation, everything where orgs and kind of get this bad rap, and the players get a bad rap, and then you see the posts on Twitter and everything. Can you just give a little bit of an insight into what that might be for Bittersweet?
The whole situation was kind of always evolving, like I said, since we went through, I think, 7, 8, 9 different players from when I was first brought on to help out these guys. Because I know that if we look back through each year, we had Team Rush with Proofy, who went to TSM. Then we had Nelson's team qualify last year and ended up going under 100 Thieves. And those situations kind of play like completely opposite of each other, where we saw like Proofy's team was like super happy under TSM, although I don't remember exactly how they performed. Like organization-wise, they were happy with their situation.
Right.
And then with 100 Thieves, where like might not have necessarily been the organization's fault or anything like that, but they performed awfully in the league, as everyone knows, and they just
100, yeah.
So like those were the two kind of examples where the teams went in without an org.
Yep.
And Space Leader Mike wanted to do kind of the same thing here. He was like, let's go in without an organization, which is when I talked to Royalty or Matt, was kind of what we discussed. I was like, there's no point in going in with an organization, because like, why are you going to accept something now when you can qualify and then kind of shop around and figure out what's the best fit for you?
Yep.
So the whole thing that was kind of discussed was that they would play under Bittersweet for the event, just because it was better than playing under the Name Supreme team.
Right. And it's just fantastic. I really do like what you guys are doing. I love that you guys were able to pick up this fantastic group of players, and I'm so glad you guys are doing so well. Thank you, sir, for coming on. Best of luck to you. Can you plug out your Twitter, anything you'd like to plug, anything else you'd like to say?
Nope, I mean, AlexGLogics on Twitter, and follow Bittersweet at Bittersweet GG.
Follow them both. Follow them both up. This has been DG from Gamers with Goldstein. Follow me on Twitter, Goldstein_DG. As we up on YouTube, we'll have it on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, everything of the sorts. All of those links will be listed in the description below. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for coming on, sir. I really do appreciate it.